The first tip is to turn smoother and calmer. When you're turning smoothly during F12, you can more easily see the next pairs, and without moving your hands around like this when you're turning quickly and roughly, it's going to be easier for you to track the pieces going around the cube. The second tip is to keep track of the solved pieces and empty slots around the cube. So in this case, my first pair is going to be the blue and red, which I'm going to insert in the back. And I'm going to know that the back left slot is going to be filled, and I'm not going to have to look for it. And so while I was solving that piece, I know that I don't have to look in this slot since it's going to be filled. I can look around the cube. Maybe I would spot the green and red piece, and I can just go straight into it. Generally, you would try to solve your first pair into the back left slot, and then the back right slot, and then finally the front slots. When you're solving an F12 pair, make sure you're looking for where the new information is coming and how other pieces are affected. So we're going to start off by solving the orange and blue pair. So we're going to pair them up here. And then first you would look at this piece which is coming up. It has yellow, so we're not going to look at it. And we're going to see what else moves when we solve this pair. And it paired up this pair over here, so then I know that I can insert this first before I insert the orange and blue. So now in this case, I have, when I insert the orange and blue pair, I'm going to move the orientation of this white, red, and green piece upwards, and I'm going to be looking for the edge that corresponds to the corner. So it can't be this pair, or this edge. And I see that this one has orange, so that's obviously not it since it's red and green. So it's not going to be in this slot since we already filled this slot. And we're about to fill in this slot, so it's not going to be here either. So we can deduce that it's going to be in the back. And yeah, it's in the back. So we can see that these two match, so it's probably going to be a solved case over here, so then we can just go straight into it. Next, we're going to be looking at the top since every single other slot is filled except this slot. So on the top we have blue, red, this is going to go in there, so we don't have to look at that. This is an orange pair, edge, but it has the yellow sticker over here, so we cannot use it. And that deduces only this edge to be the corresponding edge to this corner, so then we can go straight into it. Many of us, while solving, normally we just passively solve, and instead of actually looking ahead, we just look for the next pair after we finish this pair. So what I want you to do is to actively look for the next pair. So while we're looking here, when we're solving this blue and red pair, you have to make sure that you're not looking at this pair. You have to be looking at elsewhere. So like if I'm inserting this to the front slot right here, make sure you're looking somewhere in the back here. So as soon as we look over here, we spot that we have another pair that we can just go straight into. So instead of solving, here while I was pairing up this pair, I saw that it also made this pair, so I'm going to insert that first. So while you're inserting these F12 pairs and solving them, make sure you trust yourself to know how to solve them inside muscle memory, so you don't have to think and look at them, and you can be looking for other pairs. So just make sure you're doing that every time you're solving. A good practice technique would be to do slow solves. And these slow solves don't have to be actually slow, they just have to be untimed, and you have to be looking actively for the next pair. So as you progress in slow solving and forcing yourself to look for the next pair while you're solving this pair, so I'm looking for this, it's over here, and then I'm looking for the next pair, it's over there, and right there. I see this pair is paired, and then I can insert it. So as you progress, you should increase your turning speed, but make sure they're still untimed, and you you always feel completely in charge, and you don't feel like your turning is getting ahead of your look ahead. The next tip is to predict cases. So when you're solving an F12 pair and you see another pair, you should, if it's like an easy case like this one, you should be able to predict what happens to the second pair after you finish solving the first pair. So then you can get ready to, or just look ahead to the next pair basically, like the third pair in this case. So right here, when I'm solving this orange and blue, I know it's gonna pair up the red and green pair, and then I can insert it right after, like that. And while I was executing both of these, I could have been looking ahead for maybe the orange and green pair, and then I could just go straight into it. The best practice technique for this would be blind solving. So what you do is you you look for a pair and another pair that you're going to track while you're solving this pair. So in this case, I'm going to solve the green and orange pair first, and then I'm going to be tracking the red and green pair. So after you have both of these in mind, you close your eyes, and then you try to solve both of them. And yeah, we've solved both of them. As you improve in blind solving, you can increase your TPS while you're closing your eyes so that you have less time to think for the second pair, so then it's easier for you to predict cases. So in this case, we're going to start off with a blue and orange pair, and then our second pair is going to be the blue and red pair. So close your eyes, and yeah, we've solved both of them. And that's going to help you predict solving these pairs during an actual solve. After you've gotten two F12 pairs down in blind solving, you can move on to three pairs and even four pairs, but you're probably not going to be able to predict, so you're just going to be tracking the pieces in your head, which is really helpful. The final and most important tip is to not look at what you're solving at the moment. So you have to trust in yourself that you can solve each pair without looking, and that it's going to be like solved correctly and not in different orientations. And if you can't do that consistently, then you probably have to work on blind solving and go back to the tip before. It's sort of hard to explain the feeling that you get when you have like really good look ahead and you're able to see what's happening while you're solving one piece. So it just comes down to practice, and from these practice techniques that I went over in the video and these 5 tips, if you can get them down like really well and actively be looking for the next pair while you're solving one pair, you're gonna have a really good look ahead.